Welcome back from that short break. In case you're just joining us, this is the News International Edition, and we're coming to you live from our Vision Group headquarters here in Kampala, Uganda. Now, Russian President Vladimir Putin has told Iranian, Chinese and other leaders that Russia will continue to counter sanctions imposed by Western countries over Moscow's large-scale military operation in Ukraine. The United States and the European Union have levied an unprecedented sanctions regime against Moscow over the military intervention, forcing Russia to pivot economically to Asian markets, in particular for its energy exports. The Russian leader also thanked SCO members for their support during a short-lived uprising led by the Wagner mercenary group aimed at Russia's military leadership. The head of the Wagner mercenary group, Yevgeny Prigozhin, led his forces in late June in a brief rebellion against Moscow's top military brass, which Putin said posed a threat to the country's very survival.
Now, in fact, a hybrid war is being waged against us. Illegitimate anti-Russian sanctions are being used on an unprecedented scale. I would like to emphasize that Russia is confidently resisting and will continue to resist external pressure, sanctions and provocations. And in the current situation, our country continues to develop steadily. The Russian people are consolidated as never before. The solidarity and high responsibility for the fate of the fatherland was clearly demonstrated by the Russian political circles and the entire society by coming out as a united front against the attempted armed rebellion, Wagner mutiny. I would like to thank my colleagues from the SCO countries, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, who expressed support for the actions of the Russian leadership to protect the constitutional order, the life and security of citizens. We highly appreciate it.
Now, away from Russia, let's head over now to the United States, where a man has been charged with murder after 6 bodies were found at the scene of a house fire in South Carolina, including that of his young daughter, authorities reported. The suspect, 33-year-old Ryan Maningo, was arrested near the scene, Colleton County Sheriff Gary Hill told the news conference, adding that at the time, his motive was unknown.
A man has been charged with murder after 6 bodies were found at the scene of a house fire in South Carolina, including his young daughter, authorities said Monday. The teen, who was hospitalized in critical condition, told police the first name of the suspect. Hill said the suspect was arrested nearby and named him a 33-year-old Ryan Manigo.
Bernard Manigo has been charged with the following: 2 counts of murder, one for the death of 50-year-old Michelle Marie Wright, and the death of his daughter, 11-year-old Sharia Manigo. He has also been charged with attempted murder of a 13-year-old.
Police received an emergency call Sunday alerting them to a fire and stabbing in the town of Green Pond with multiple victims still inside the home, Colleton County Sheriff Gary Hill told a news conference. Officers arrived to find the house in flames and outside was a teenager who had been stabbed, Hill said. The authorities, however, could not explain why at the time.
At this time, we do not have a motive. This is a very active investigation, and as details emerge, we will forward them to the family and the media. The suspect was detained near the scene and arrested shortly after detectives were able to confirm his last name.
2 of the bodies have been identified as a sister-in-law of Manigo and his 11-year-old daughter, according to the sheriff. The 4 other victims had yet to be identified. So far, Manigo has been charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 of attempted murder, and more charges are expected, Solicitor Duffy Stone told reporters.
And finally, coming from the U.S. too, images show areas that have been cordoned off by police in Baltimore's Brooklyn neighborhood in the U.S., where police say at least 2 people were killed and 28 have been wounded in a mass shooting at a street party on Sunday. Baltimore, a city of about 575,000, located 40 miles north of the U.S. Capitol, has one of the highest murder rates in the country.
At least 2 people were killed and 28 wounded in a mass shooting at a street party early Sunday in the United States city of Baltimore, police said. Police received multiple calls about a shooting in the city's Brooklyn neighborhood just after 12:30 a.m. Sunday. Acting Police Commissioner Rich Worley told a press conference.
This morning officers received numerous calls for a shooting at 800 Gretna Court. Upon officers' arrival, we located multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. We located one female adult deceased on the scene. 9 additional victims were transported from the location to area hospitals. Additionally, we had 20 other victims walk into hospitals throughout the region. Our detectives are currently working an extensive crime scene.
One 18-year-old woman was found dead at the scene in the East Coast port city, and a 20-year-old man died after being taken to hospital, a police statement said. The wounded were being treated at area hospitals, he added, with 3 of them in critical condition.
2 deceased victims we have are both adults. We have 3 other victims who are in critical condition.
Wally said authorities were working to identify the suspect and determine the motive for the shooting. With more firearms than inhabitants, the United States has the highest rate of gun deaths of any developed country, at least 44,357 in 2022, including 24,090 suicides, according to the Gun Violence Archive, GVA. Brandon Scott, the mayor of Baltimore, has emphasized more need for gun control.
I want to again express that this is an absolute tragedy that did not have to happen. It again highlights the impacts and the need to deal with the overproliferation of illegal guns on our streets and the ability for those who should not have them to get their hands on them, and also the need for accountability on each and every level when you're dealing with guns and gun violence. And again, we will not stop until we find those cowards who decided to just shoot dozens of people, causing 2 people to lose their lives.
Sunday's incident was at least the 338th mass shooting to occur so far this year, according to the GVA, which defines the term as a gun-related incident in which 4 or more people are wounded or killed. Earlier this year, Scott penned an editorial in the Washington Post in which he said his city has over-relied on the 3 Ps, which include policing, prosecution, and prisons to reduce violence. That includes access to behavioral health services, housing support, life coaching, case management, and other resources to ensure that a situation never gets to the moment at which a person harms another human being. Baltimore, a city of about 575,000, located 40 miles or 65 kilometers north of the U.S. capital, has one of the highest murder rates in the country.
Very sad indeed, innocent lives dying because of gun violence. And that's all the international news we had for you today. We'll be back again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Thank you for watching, and do have yourselves a splendid afternoon.
The Bride and Groom Show is bigger and better. Stay up to date with the latest wedding trends at